Welcome back, and here was a tweet coming your way this weekend. David Pastrnak was benched in the third period of the Bruins win because of a coach's decision. Leads us to our segment, Is This a Problem?
Oh, yeah.
Is this a problem? We're going to have some tea and talk about it. Just a little rubber.
What am I? I have a jar of peanut butter in front of me, which is very accurate.
And you have some croissants.
Croissant?
Croissants.
Hey.
All right, is this a problem, guys? So David Pastrnak benched in the third period of the team's 2-0 win on Sunday, allegedly over a bad turnover in the second period of that game. So let me get to what Pasta said earlier today about this punishment. Take a listen.
And that was a bad turnover, so you know, how I said, I take responsibility for it. Accountability, I guess, is a better word. And you know, I just want to move forward. I don't want to be any distraction to our team. You know, the guys know how I feel about them in here, and it was a bad play. So how I said, I take the accountability, but already moving forward.
All right, well, it was a great weekend for the Bruins. They got 2 wins to stop their skid, but this is now the second star player for the Bruins that Jim Montgomery had to reprimand. We had Marchand earlier in the year. So, you know, you look at this, you hear Pasta, he's kind of brushing it off, but this is your star player who makes one mistake in the second period and you bench him for the whole third. I've got to ask, is this a problem for the Boston Bruins and the handling that Jim Montgomery is doing right now with this group?
No, I don't think it's a problem. The only person that's a problem for, or team it's a problem for, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's their next opponent. And we remember what happened in the playoffs here before Game 7. He challenged Pasta in postgame, and what did Pasta do? He got the overtime winner to beat Toronto. So
Sure did.
This is what Pasta. You heard what he said there. Perfect. I mean, you give me a superstar that thinks like that, and I love every word that comes out of his mouth, his passion and everything that Pasta does. He replies and responds the right way, just like Brad Marchand. Coaches know which players they can push and call out to the mat and how they're going to respond. So I like it, and I think it was strategic before this Toronto game. Like, this team came off 2 wins this weekend, and I think it was, hey, Pasta probably has another level to play better, and he knows if I do this now, we got a big divisional game against Toronto. Now's the time right now to push the buttons.
Couple things. They're up 2-0. They were really dominating that game against Seattle. They didn't really need any more goals. That was an opportunity where, okay, we can send a message here if I'm Jim Montgomery, but you also have to be careful. This is on a power play, and you want your most skilled creative player to be free out on the power play to create things for you that nobody else on your team can. He has to have the freedom to do certain things, but if it's right in front of the blue line and you have a couple open bodies you can throw it to, maybe that's not the place. So he holds him accountable to a certain point. You need to be careful, though, because they're going to make mistakes. Top players in the NHL are going to make mistakes with some of their creativity that more times than not will help you win a hockey game. I just think, yeah, if I saw something like that in a 9U game, I would say we have to get it in at the blue line, and little Johnny would get a talking to. He wouldn't be benched for the third period, but you'd send a message.
Would you be wearing your Donatello costume when you told him that?
I loved that.
Maybe.
To pull that
It was around
Maybe.
Halloween.
It was Halloween, yeah.
But there's time, and that's the job of Jim Montgomery, to know when is the time to do something like that.
Do you think, though, I agree with everything you're saying, but I almost feel like this is a way to tweak the rest of the roster more so than David Pastrnak. Maybe you're going to get a reaction out of Pasta too, but if you're sitting there, some of the players that have to step up, Pavel Zacha, Charlie Coyle. You can go up and down this lineup of players who need to find a better
Both had
level.
good weekends.
Lindholm, like, these players need to be better. And it's one thing to go at those players, but also let them kind of figure it out. But if I go at Pasta, it's like an indirect rallying up of everybody, because he's the top of it.
I know,
but to know that you can do that with Pasta, you can't just do that with everybody.
I know, but so I understand it. I'm saying be wary of. You have to understand that some guys might grip their sticks now a little tighter, and they might oversimplify to a certain point where they're not going to get any goals. They're going to be so worried about being the next guy. You can't do this 3, 4, 5 times in a month and have it be on the NHL Network. No. So I get the tensions are high. I get Jim Montgomery has a contract that expires at the end of this year.
Which comes into play here.
I get that the playoff resume has not been great. But I don't think you should handicap your team. I don't think you should burden your team because you're letting the emotions get the better of you. And I think that's what's happening here. The Bruins have always been, I mean, obviously there's fire and passion there, but you never really worried about this part of it. They were just dialed in all the time. Now, for better or worse, he's bringing it out into the light.
Yeah, the doubt is creeping in a little bit, maybe.
And he's showing the world, like, this is what we're going to do because we're not playing well. You wouldn't even have known that before because every year they play so well.
Yeah. Charlie Coyle, who I mentioned needed to play well, was really good in this game.
Yeah, great weekend.
And this goal here, can we show it? This was awesome. I mean, this is making something out of nothing. You don't have any room here. Look at this. That's just power, quickness.
Chicken salad out of.
Yeah. So, Charlie played pretty well.
That is.
But they need more of this. He could do that. Like, not that. They don't need that play. But Charlie.
They might need a little bit of that. Charlie has that in him.
Charlie could take over games. We know this.
Oh, yeah.
He could take over games.
He's a horse.
And if he can get that going a little bit more, I think it'll help this team out a lot.
For sure. And like you said with Lindholm, too, that's a big position to be put into because he's new there. It's his third team in a few months, if you think about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on him. He's showing signs of it, but it takes time.
All right, let's move on to the Colorado Avalanche. It's been a very roller coaster season for them so far, an 0-4 start, then a 5-game win streak. Now they're on a 3-game losing streak. Arturi Lehkonen slated to return, and Val Nichushkin is getting closer to his return. So those are good news items, but is this streakiness for the Colorado Avalanche a problem?
Yeah, it's a problem. Their injury woes are probably a bigger problem, but they also, I just don't find that they play a brand of hockey that's would lend to consistency. And yes, they are banged up, but some of the problems that they have defensively or even keeping the puck out of their net, it's not always the guys that are maybe in the American League. They're just, you know how we talk about goalies masking problems for their teams? And maybe we look at it and the team thinks that they're better than what they are. I think, if this makes any sense at all, I think that's what having Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar do to that team. I think it makes them, like, I don't find them to be very good this year at all. Even in the 5-game winning streak, which was against very subpar performances or teams, they had great performances by Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon are top 5 scorers in the league. So I don't know what to think of this team. They got to get healthy, but I'm concerned with them.
That's a different team if those guys are healthy playing. And you're going to have injuries here and there. I just think you need more consistent goaltending.
All right, moving on to the final one, and it is we have to talk about Tom Brady, guys, because it was one of the best videos of the weekend. Apparently, Tom Brady was learning to skate with his buddy Ty Domi, but using the skating aid.
I think he looks great.
Is this the problem that the GOAT is using a kid's training device to skate? Look at his what? It was tan.
Look at his tan.
I mean, he should have used that when he was getting outside the pocket when he played.
Just get him
Are you critiquing Tom Brady's football?
Tom Brady's unbelievable.
The Browns.
That's actually pretty good. Ty Domi did go on to say, because the second time he was on the ice, he lost this thing.
Yeah.
And I just want to take a shot at Tom Brady.
Tommy, don't listen.
It was actually pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. To skate how he did the second time he was out, KT, for the second time ever being on the ice, it was actually
somebody
rather
tweeted
impressive.
out that his knees were shaking more here than they were, or they were shaking as much here as they were in the 2 games he lost to Eli.
Yes, and it was in New Jersey. This was at the Devils practice rink, so.
Not happy with us.
The state of New Jersey. And,
and
Eli
Tom,
Manning, he could sense Eli was nearby.
Yes, exactly. Eli's somewhere near there, but hey, it was a great video. I mean, anytime.
7 rings.
All right, pipe down over there. How did your Patriots do over the last couple weeks? Just curious.
I can't.
We're in a different.
I can't talk about football. My team plays a different sport.
All right.